Well, we are back for the second show of the week. I had a 4-month hiatus. I'm refreshed, I'm recharged, and I have got a wrestling legend coming on today. And it's none other than the whole effing show, Mr. Rob Van Dam, Mr. WWE Hall of Fame, the class of 2021. Amazing to have you on the show, man, for episode 189.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. Now, first and foremost, Rob, obviously Only Wrestlers has been set up. It's very current. You and Katie have obviously put it together. So, yeah, I'd just like you to let the fans know who don't know about it, what it's all about, and obviously how it's going to, prove to bring the fans and the wrestlers together. And, and it's one of a kind.
Right. So this was a long time in the making, several meetings, trying to hammer out a lot of details. I had the idea, I was asked, I never wanted to run wrestling shows, but I was asked, if I was in charge of a wrestling show, what would I do that's different? And I always had this idea where the card would be there and then the fans could vote on who wrestles who, maybe some stipulations or something. And I always had that idea even before now it's been done. I think Taboo Tuesday, it was one where they did, and maybe even one other time. Well, I was in a match one time where the fans allegedly, I don't know, voted on the live WWE show on who was going to wrestle. It was between me and Dolph Ziggler and Kofi, and I knew the fans were all going to vote me in as a landslide. And for me, it was just working twice that day. You know what I mean? I can't remember what the main event was. I guess a shot at some title or something. But anyway, I always had that idea in the back of my mind. And I started talking to these guys about ways that we could do it and ways that we could not just have it where people that are there at the show could vote. That would take some doing, but it can be done. But anyway, what Only Wrestlers is an embryonic stage that will lead to doing live shows, and it's a platform where people can follow their favorite wrestlers. Every day we're getting more wrestlers on, more followers. Right away, in the first 2 weeks or less, we had people signing up from 25 different countries, all over the place. So it is intended to have a snowball effect where it will just keep growing and growing. And some fans and some wrestlers either haven't got around to it yet, to setting up their profiles, or they want to wait and see, what happens with it. But either way, it's constantly on the grow. And so all the wrestlers that are signed up there, I don't know, I think we have between 150 and 200 on there, but they are creators. So people that follow them, they keep in touch with them. So it's like any wrestlers that are at conventions, you sit at a table and then you have that experience where you meet the fans, but then it's over and then they leave and then they say, are you going to be at the big event in March? Maybe I'll see you there. And this is something where you can keep it going, and you say you can follow me on Only Wrestlers. And then the wrestlers, it's up to them. There's several different ways for them to create content, photos, videos. There's the stories, there's the feed wall. And we're always growing too. We're putting in a community chat room where everybody can communicate together. And that's going to be a huge step. But right now, all the followers that come aboard and follow whoever, which by the way, Katie and myself are always going to be free, just like Only Wrestlers, because that's because we're owners of it. So get on there and follow us and check it out. But it's going to grow, and as the followers sign up, they become part of this association where they have voting power. And the votes are going to start out smaller, but equivalent to our stage of growth. So we'll get what belts should we have, championship belts, what belts look like, things like that, and then eventually it'll grow and grow and grow to where we'll be having people vote on which town we come to and things like that. So that'll be really fun. It's something to give them an agenda, together, and like you said, make a community between the wrestlers and the fans that bring everybody together. And we're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff together.
A proper bridge. I know wrestlers don't like to be hassled, do they, across social media and stuff like that? But this is the avenue now, isn't it? And I just thought it was amazing when I saw the news. I was reading up on it and stuff, the press release and all that. It's just amazing for us fans, Rob.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about it. And like I said, we plan on it always being on the grow, because we're always meeting with people that companies, even independent old companies, get on there and create an account so they can promote their wrestlers, their shows, their whatever, So it's not even just for individuals, but that's something we want to do too, is help shine a light on some underexposed talent out there. And also, who knows, maybe we'll be booking guys from obscure places in the earth that, we wouldn't otherwise have found. But when it gets to running the shows, it's so multifaceted that it could be confusing. But I think I did my best at explaining it. Right now, we're building up the community, building up followers, and you don't even have to spend anything. All the wrestlers will set their own prices on whatever content. That way, it's up to them if they want to really hustle and take control of this, And I mean, personally, I'm going to be checking in and adding to my story throughout the day, in addition to the videos. But community chat is going to be huge, and of course, we have a lot of other things on the agenda. Our website is being worked on like every day, and we're also using the fans' feedback to find places to improve that as well. So we want to make the website a go-to hub eventually, where we can do our podcasts and everything from there.
Perfect. All housed in the one place, which is amazing. What about coming over to the UK for it?
Absolutely.
You've got to come over here. It's a hotbed. It's a hotbed. You know that. You've been over here so many times,
Absolutely.
We're so passionate here. I'm not just saying that. That's always been the case, isn't it? The whole of Europe, I would say, very passionate.
Yeah,
very passionate.
It's a good time for wrestling right now. Like the whole business right now is thriving, and it's a good time for the legends. Like we're getting respect and getting credit instead of ignored. And I don't mean that like in a bad way, except for overall, I think that that's true in society as well. I've always said, like the Eastern countries, the older the people get, it seems like the more respect they get, and they are looked at as being wiser. And then there seems to be like ageism here, somewhat. But overall, you don't know how many people were impacted by your efforts if they don't tell you. So just that vibe of everyone's appreciative, and it's a good time. It's a good time for the business. I hope to come to UK. With only wrestlers, with anything.
Absolutely. We've got the venues here. We've got the venues that can be, it can be amazing. No, thank you for sharing that. As said, only wrestlers. Get to the website.com, onlywrestlers.com. It's all there, everything. It's amazing. There's daily announcements as well, keeping the fans up to date with the news as well. So it's amazing, absolutely brilliant. I wanted to ask as well about your podcast. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk to you about the podcast I've called One of a Kind with RVD, as you can see there, and just how that's been going. I think you're 70 odd.
Before moving past the OnlyFans, or I'm sorry, OnlyWrestlers.com, I just wanted to add that we have referral incentives. So, if you're a follower, you can sign up other followers and get a commission for like 12 months. You get a commission of everything that they're spending on their account. Same thing with the wrestler to wrestler as well. So just wanted to throw that out there. We worked on this for a while, and we had some different promotions to start out with, and this one doesn't go away. So the referral's in there for the long term.
Sorry for jumping in there, changing topic. I apologize.
That was an afterthought, bro. I just thought I wanted to spit that out.
No, thank you.
Might be important to some people.
Absolutely, yeah. No, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, back to the podcast, One of a Kind, and you're 70 odd episodes in now. Just like how you finding it? You enjoying it?
Yeah, I enjoy doing it. A lot of times, I might not be in the inspired mood at the beginning of it, and I'll even tell my Dominic, my host, I'll be like, dude, man, I know I told you I'm tired a lot of times, but I'm really tired tonight. We should just do it short. But then, we start telling stories and stuff, and I always have fun at the end. Me and Dom both end up saying, man, that was a fun show. And I really get I enjoy the feedback that I get from people telling me that they like my podcast. Some people say that we're doing something important and helping people, and sharing my perspective on life philosophies is something that I often do. RVDology. It's on my YouTube page at The Real RVD as well. There's standalone episodes, all stories that no one's ever heard before, and that's something that I enjoy doing as well. But so the podcast right now, it's on a few different platforms, and so that's one of them. My other YouTube channel, The Real RVD, got demonetized because I guess the same clips were on the One of a Kind. I don't know. I think my fandom isn't even. We're not even on there anymore. So that's what my guy told me. So I don't know. It's my host, knows a lot more about that stuff. But I asked him about my fandom, and he said that Premiere changed their name, I guess, but we're not on there anymore anyway. So anyway, but just find it. No, at The Real RVD on YouTube, and the other one, I don't know if it's One of a Kind. I don't know what the website is. The other one. Is it One True Sport? Maybe it's that.
It is One True Sport now. It's changed. It has changed. Yeah, I had noticed. Yeah, that's where it is. That should be able to find that on there as well. Yeah, absolutely. This demonetizing thing, you're hearing about it all the time. People are doing really well with content, and then they're just getting scuppered by the bigwigs, the big cheeses.
Yeah, so we're out like $6 a month. It's not that big of a deal, but at the same time, it's a bummer, and it makes you, it puts a damper on the motivation. Like, wow, we're getting our numbers up, we're learning a few things, we're doing good, and my dude that posts all the content, he's trying different things to get the numbers up, and then boom, all of a sudden, and it's for a long time. Like they didn't like my appeal, so they gave me like a 3-month. They were like, you can try again to appeal. I don't know, December 15th or some random date, and then if it's not, I don't know if they don't accept my appeal, then I don't know. Maybe I'll just move it somewhere. But like I said, I want to do it at onlywrestlers.com anyway. We don't really have like the setup to actually host the podcast, but we will.
Perfect. I want to talk to you about being the originator of airbrushed attire. Now, your attire was just, it blew my mind when I saw you the first time. I can remember you was Robbie V in WCW years before, but when you came into Raw with Jerry Lawler, Mr. Monday Night, in the attire, just the airbrushed attire, man, that was like, yeah, that's cool. Just like that, it was amazing. And obviously I've got a graphic here with different ones over the time. Just so cool, your attire, Rob.
Yeah, but I can't say that I was the originator, because I remember when I was a kid seeing Rick Rude airbrushing. He had Cheryl Roberts, Jake the Snake's wife, airbrushed on his tights when they were having this angle between the two of them. So that might have put the idea in my head to start getting my stuff airbrushed, but Macho Man might have done something too. I don't know, but yeah, it's one of the things that's always made me one of a kind. And when I first got to WWE in 2001, I was approached by an agent that wanted me to change that. They said they called it tie dye. First off, that's Michael Hayes. He said, "Well, the tie dye, it reminds us of the '70s." And I was like, what are you saying? What do you want to do? And he said, well, we want the seamstresses to be able to make you an outfit. You know, like Kurt Angle's. So it's like thick and it's like permanent. It just stays the same all the time. But they actually did make one. And I ended up just using that one on the non-televised shows, because it didn't, the paint on the airbrushed outfits would fade. So you could it's only new once. And then, you know, if it's worn 3 times, then it's starting to show, depending on the outfit. So I would save those for television. And then on the non-TV matches, which were 3 out of 5 back then, matches in a week, were non-televised. And I would wear the Kurt Angle kind of outfit. It was like all black and it had like a red little dragon in it. It wasn't bad, you know, but obviously a lot of people like yourself really thought the airbrushing was cool.
It's just like let you be you, you know, give you the freedom, you know what I mean? And again, it like you've said in the past, promos, you know, you didn't need to have your promos written for you. You didn't, you know, it was typified when you came out at One Night Stand with Fonzie and you were given the open mic, and it was amazing. That was my favorite part of the night. The matches were amazing, but you just telling them like it was the WWE lot in the box. You told them straight, didn't you?
Yeah, you know, I was speaking from passion, and yeah, like you said, it wasn't written for me, and that was the first time really that a lot of the company and the industry really had heard me speak like that, you know. So, but it was always difficult for me to take what they would give me and make it into that, you know. Like, even though I had all the freedom, you know, when they would suggest some words for me, then they would say, you know, make it your own, like, you know. But I still would usually be so offended by what they wrote that I couldn't get past that. And I could never seem to turn it into what I would say anyway. Sometimes I'd be like, I wouldn't even be talking about this really, you know. And so it was always a little more challenging for me there than in ECW, where I felt so comfortable. I felt like I was ECW, you know, and like everything that I did was legitimate. I didn't have to question it, because I was, you know, I felt like I was the part of the entity, you know, ran through all of our blood. And then in WWE, it's like that company is so much bigger than any wrestler ever will be. And so you have a different perspective of your time there, you know, in the WWE universe. How long is it going to be? You're going to be a flash in the pan, whatever. But with ECW, it was like, man, night after night, every time I would have a match that I thought was just killer, and I worked my ass off, and the crowd was great. It felt like the whole company was growing. You know, I can't imagine being part of WWE at a time like that.
I've had a load of questions in, guys. I will get to them after. I just want to put the stuff that I need to put to Rob. Obviously, there's loads of questions, Rob, on top of the questions I've already had. Guys, we will get to them. So obviously, I've got quite a bit to get through with Rob first, of course, but I will get through every single question because I know Rob will want to hear from you guys. A lot of people from the UK putting comments in, Rob, as well. So that'll be cool, man. That'll be cool. I want to go to Invasion in 2001, the match with Jeff Hardy. Unbelievable. I remember staying up in the UK. There was a bunch of us watching it that night. You and Jeff, man. I know you had several matches with Jeff over the years, but that one still remains one of my favorites. I've got some graphics as well from the match, of course. But yeah, you and Jeff, man, what chemistry.
Yep, that was some of my favorite memories too. I love that right there. I love jumping up from my knees into that spinning back kick, and that was one of the best ever as he fell into the pit. Like that was just awesome. Good moment.
I was rooting for Jeff that night, Rob.
Yeah. How'd that turn out for you?
I love you, I love you, but Jeff, obviously, you guys coming in, I was WWE, at the time WWF. I was rooting for him, but what an event that was, and you guys stole it. You guys stole it, man. In my opinion, it was just.
I always liked wrestling, Jeff. He's always one of my favorite opponents.
Good to see him and Matt back together, tagging and doing well. It's good to see. It's good to see them back together, man. They're good guys. But yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to move us along as well. I know I've spoken about it previously, but obviously in '97 when you came to Raw in the May and you were with Jerry Lawler, just your memories of that coming in. I know there was a working relationship, wasn't there, with Vince and Paul Heyman at the time. But yeah, just doing this stuff. I remember it so well with you and Jerry. How was that for you?
Well, I was kind of in that perspective where I had the competitive state of mind, and I was really looking out for myself and for the best interests of ECW. I mean, that was the whole reason we were there, was to get ECW seen on WWE's television, on their platform, on their stage, so the world could see us. And so I was real protective, like anything that they did that I thought was not conducive to ECW's growth, I would snap at it. And Paul had us prepared that way. He told us, like, as soon as sorry, burning holes in my carpet. Comment here. Paul had set us up, and he said, they don't want us here. Watch your backs. Don't leave your bags unattended. They'll cut your outfits up or shit in your bags or something, and you will watch each other's backs. And as soon as something don't smell right, just say the word, boom, we're gone. And I'm like, okay, I guess. So he had me like that, like real defensive. So right off the bat, honestly, I didn't really like being associated with Jerry Lawler.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly it was my ego, trying to explain it, how I felt. But my ego wanted me to be just ECW, the outsider. But it was weird because I was ECW on WWE show, but I was WWE on ECW show. So I was an outsider on both. But Jerry was always anti-ECW, extremely crappy wrestling. But then he brought us in there as outsiders from ECW. So it was a little weird. All of that was weird. And I thought, that at the time, like I said, my ego told me it'd be better for us just to stick together and be the tight bond that we really were. So pretty soon they got me and Jerry tagging against the Headbangers. And that was just too much for me. I was like, how's that helping ECW? And it's becoming less about ECW, really, really quickly. And then they wanted me to wrestle Road Dogg, and it was going to be Road Dogg's night, not mine. And I was like, what? And I went to Paul and said, Paul, you really want me to put Road Dogg over? And he goes, you want to go? Let's go. Say the word, we'll go. And I'm like, well, I'm looking for some support here, like what do you think, And he goes, you say the word. So he really put like all the pressure on me and Sabu. But we ended up pulling the plug on that, and then later on, when in 2001, when everything was gone, and WWE was the only option to be a TV wrestler in America, then at that point, I had a reputation for being hard to get along with. So I had to smooth that over because I walked out on them before, in Detroit during a show. But it was, like I said, I was set up. Yeah. So that's how it was for me. It was awesome. I had the spotlight on me, in the industry, and I always have. I still am jumping around from company to company, and much to the fans' dismay. You know what I mean? That's what I do. So
it's great. It's testament to you, the longevity it is, and you loved, man. That is, and that's hard. That's hard, but you are. Everyone absolutely adored you, and still do. And I think, as you're saying, because you're still prevalent now, NXT from the 2,300 arena, ECW arena, and that was obviously this week. So yeah, back to Philadelphia. Absolutely brilliant seeing you on NXT this week.
Yeah, yep, that was really cool, and I'd be back. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger said, it would have been cool to have wrestled on that card, but I am going to make that happen down the road. But yeah, it was really cool. All those guys are cool at NXT. They're very respectful. They go out of their way. They're really happy to have legends there. Like they're stoked because they grew up watching us, but also, they think that it's helping them out and helping the show and the brand and everything. And it's a really good positive vibe. So it's pretty cool to be around it.
Were they asking for advice? I hear a lot over here from guys that are in the UK scene, in the independents and what have you. The amount of times to be an older guy and there with vast experience, and they're left alone. I'm assuming because it's NXT, that you would have had guys coming up to you. Did you have people asking for advice this week?
Not really. Maybe a little. Maybe I gave a little. The advice that was unasked for, but it wasn't like there was a lack of it. It's more like there wasn't really a place or a time to do it, so a lot of times when I'm at shows, the wrestlers will say, hey, if you get a chance, watch my match, and if you get a chance to watch my match, dude, let me know anything you see that could make me better, whatever. And it's usually like that, but I wasn't watching any of the matches, and I think everyone was kind of busy doing their own thing. So it wasn't like there was a lack of it, but there wasn't an opportune time for someone to come up and ask. It would be too generic or too open-ended, to just say, hey, what advice would you give someone? And that might have happened too. They might have just said, what advice would you give someone that's getting into the business? That usually happens. And, that one's pretty broad and non-specific. But, yeah, more like that. But everyone's like super respectful. And if I did have anything to say, they were there to listen.
It's just like, that's it, man. It's a resource for the younger guys, man. That's absolutely. But yeah, great seeing you on TV. I know you've worked with the other promotions. You've been at AEW. You've done Impact as well. I mean, you've been around everywhere, man. It's great. It's great. Yeah. And you and Katie doing stuff together as well. On the screen, it was great. It's good. It's fun. That's how it should be.
Yeah, one thing that's cool is that real life is more relevant, you know. Um, and that's kind of a universal thing too, at least with me and in the universe as I know it. I'm a big fan of nonfiction history because all of it is related. A big network of energy that connects everything, from actors to politicians to mobsters to murderers to prohibition. It's all actually connected. And when you're in a fictional world where you just create characters and give them names and stuff like that, then everyone starts out brand new. With that new character or whatever. So I love that. I love that they meaning wrestling, but I love that retro is in, and also just the importance on um, history or those that paved the way before us. I love that there's emphasis on that. It's pretty important, and and it's a good time to be a legend. You know.
Unquestionably, like it's great. No, it's great, amazing. I'd like to ask you as well. You faced everybody, you faced the who's who over the years, countless matches. I know you've obviously spoken about the matches with Jerry Lynn time and time again. Amazing, watched them so many times over the years. But was there anybody you didn't get in there with that you would have loved to have got in there with and pitted your wits against somebody that you didn't? Maybe past and present, actually.
Just one guy comes to mind, Mike Awesome.
Mm.
Yeah, and not just for him and the talent that he was, but also because of what we were building there at ECW with Mike Awesome being the heavyweight champion, and I was carrying the company, a lot of it, with the television championship. So we were building, separate pedestals and lifting the roof up, and it would have been nice to have the payoff for that, and what a great opponent that would have been too.
Gone far too young, and the ECW Mike Awesome, unbelievable. Him and Masato Tanaka. I know everyone says about it, but oh my days! And the agility from such a big man when he could fling himself over the top rope, man. And probably underappreciated in some respects. Would you say, would that be a fair assessment of him?
Yeah, I thought that he was a great example of a heavyweight champion for us, because he took risks that he didn't have to take, to show off and to add brutality to the matches. And that was, no pun intended, that was awesome. And I was a really big fan of his. And I thought that I would have loved, again, like to have wrestled him. But what I want to say though about his style is that even though he would do a bit of flying, I feel like it was still a big monster flying. It was like it was. If he ran and jumped over the top rope to clothesline you on the floor, that was a crazy suicidal thing for him. But it was still kind of like an airliner coming out of the sky and crashing. It wasn't like he's trying to do 360 bumps when people are clotheslining him to show that he's athletic. There's like the realm of how you're exhibiting your points of interest has changed, with the way the wrestling has changed. And that's one of the ways, I see a lot of big guys that want to wrestle like little guys. And it's like, it really makes them appear smaller. It's not good for their image, in my opinion. Same with the other way around. I was taught we had our realms. And like Sabu said, if you're under 200 pounds, you should never like do power bombs and stuff. Well, nowadays everybody does everybody's moves, and it's crazy. The first time I saw Seth Rollins do that power bomb throw whatever into the corner, that was one of the times I noticed, like, okay, stuff has changed, you know what I mean? Because he's not a big monster and he's doing a strength move. I would gorilla press some guys in ECW, but only if they were like smaller than me. Even if I, you know, and my character's always been about showing off and connecting with that pop anyway. But I still knew my realm and didn't do everything that I could do. Nowadays in wrestling schools, they're more worried about doing everybody else's moves than even learning how to wrestle. At least some of them.
I totally take on board what you're saying. Of course, you know, wrestler's opinion it counts for the most fan opinion about it. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. They say about psychology and stuff. That you know, they say there's no psychology as well. This is what I hear from the guys, the pros in the industry. What's your thoughts on modern
Well,
wrestling? Are they missing psychology in your opinion?
they're missing the commitment to the moment that we were taught, because when we were taught by old school wrestlers, the number one rule was to protect the business, and that meant everything you said, everything you were seen doing, your moves in the ring, talking about it, everything was protecting the business because that's how they made their money, you know. The Sheik and the guys ahead of me, that's what I got brought into. I used to have to walk to the building because I couldn't be seen riding in a car with three heels. And so they dropped me off blocks away. And then, you know, I got in trouble for being seen with bad guys like at a old country buffet. And I was like, okay, you guys are real kayfabe. But that's where it was. And then now it's like there's never been an easier time to get into the business. And I feel like it's been fans that already just figured that they know how everything is. And so they made it more how it is and how they thought it was. And they think they're playing to a crowd that knows everything they do. So they don't bother, you know, with any of the mystique or magic. They just feel like it's about performing the stunts and maneuvers to a big degree. So that's what I think it is. And you know, that commitment to actually never, from when you go through the curtain until you get back through the curtain, never breaking from that fact that everybody's watching you, all eyes are on you. You know, like it's something that I was taught. If I'm on the apron during a tag match, I'm working my ass off, and I know people are looking at me, even if I'm just standing on the apron. You know, so there's not room to check out like they do a lot of times nowadays. You know, to catch somebody, to be in position, whatever, and it's just because they don't have that. They weren't taught to believe in that moment. They're going through it. They're going through it, and to them, the agenda is pulling it off, not thinking about, you know, protecting the business.
No, nice, no, good answer, man. Yeah, thank you for the in-depth answer to that as well. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that, man. Absolutely. I'm going to throw some comments in, but I've got a comment from an ECW original from a few days ago. Chili Willie, who's been on the show. I had him on the show years ago. He said to say hello to you, Chili Willie. He did send a message. He said say hello to Rob.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's out living in the Philippines now, actually.
Nice.
So that's where he is. So yeah, he said please tell Rob I said hi.
Cool.
And then I'm going to go through them now. We've got Lewis Young from Falkirk up in Scotland. So yeah, we'll get the questions to Rob now. Just fire it up. Would you come back to ICW in Scotland? From Lewis Young in Falkirk.
You know, I saw something on social media yesterday that was called Lionheart Championship Wrestling, and I wondered if that's what ICW became. Because, you know, Lionheart was the heart of it and he hung himself. And, you know, after he died, I wondered if they named the company after him, you know, in honor, or is it just a coincidence or a side thing? But I saw Lionheart Championship Wrestling and I wondered that, but I looked at the poster, didn't recognize anybody. But you know, I would definitely consider it. You know, I got if terms are met, then consideration is done. You know,
Mark Dallas has done well up there. I've got to be fair. You know, they've done some great things over the years. They've been a beacon, you know, on the UK scene and Europe as well. You know, so yeah, no, they've done really good. Good. Thank you, Lewis, for the comment, and we'll move on to the next one. It's my good pal Brady Barlow. Is there any wrestler you would love to wrestle again? The second part of the question I've already asked you. The wish you could wrestle, but yeah, is there any wrestler you would have loved to have wrestled again if you could?
John Cena.
And we watched that live as well. Yeah,
On his retirement tour.
We'd love to see that again. And he's gonna be doing a lot of bookings next year, man. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, let's get it booked. Get it, Triple H, get it booked, will you? Get it sorted, or Nick Khan, whoever it is, the powers that be, get that made. Cena and RVD one last time, two legends of the business. And then moving on again, it's Mac Davis. Obviously, does his show with Teddy Long as well, Road Trip, After Hours. RVD, what's a good topical for back pain? Is Mac Davis's question to you.
Well, you know, unfortunately, RVD CBD cream isn't on the market anymore because we did make the best topical, and everyone that tried it seemed to agree. But BioFreeze works great for me. A lot of people don't get the same results as other people, but my number one pick would be BioFreeze. Rub it all over that and just give it a minute, and boom, at least temporary relief from the pain. And this isn't a topical, but if you haven't tried Kratom, I always got to tell people about Kratom because I believe in it so much. Which, by the way, RVD CBD cream does still exist.
Yes.
It only exists here in my house, though. we have a little bit of supplies and gummies. Kratom, Kratom, is a plant from the coffee plant family. It's a leaf, a dried up leaf, and they crumble it into powder. And you can eat the powder, which is probably the most effective. You can eat it in a capsule, which I find that you usually got to eat a lot of the capsules and to get the same effect as a fraction of the amount of powder that's in the capsules. But also now they have gummies. They have like little liquid shots, like 5-hour energy size bottles. And anyway, Kratom is great for pain, back pain. If you haven't tried it, then I would recommend it. It works on our opiate sensors in our brain. And so it's great for pain, for sleep, for anxieties. Those are like the top 3 things that it does. And it works so good that the government has been trying to make it a controlled substance for years. And so far, it's still out there. You can buy Kratom at places, usually where you can get CBD, head shops where they sell pipes, but not marijuana. Usually those places have Kratom. And it is illegal in some states. And I don't know about the UK. I don't know.
That'd be an interesting point, actually. I wonder if it is or it isn't with that one. But yeah, good coming off the topic of wrestling there. I've enjoyed that. It's cool,
yeah,
man.
I've been wanting to put my brand on Kratom, and that's something I need to focus and do because I got a couple of companies I'm talking to. But I really just, feel like I'm, by getting that out there, I know I'm helping some people because people will tell me, like, and a lot of my friends that were like addicted to narcotics were able to quit taking Vicodin and take this instead. And it works kind of similar. Now, some people get high off of it. I forget that because it doesn't do that to me. But I imagine they're taking probably a big dosage. But again, everyone reacts different to it. But I forget about that some people, when they take it, they seem to get a little buzz from it. But start with 5 to 10 grams. 5 to 10 grams is plenty. And wait like 20, 30 minutes. If you don't feel nothing, try another dosage of it. and I'd be surprised if you don't feel it by then. And I don't think that should get you high unless you're really sensitive to it. But there's red, green, and white, and they say that the red is for nighttime to help you sleep, green to pick you up, like manga, different leaves like that, and then the white being like some kind of mix in between. But I personally don't know how much I believe that from my own experience and from talking to two different manufacturers. They told me that it's all the same. Although, the white, green, and the red, they sell it different, but I was told it's all the same leaf anyway. And so I personally don't notice a big difference in the range of experience from the different colors. So for me, I feel like kratom is kratom.
Perfect. No, thanks for that, Mark. Thanks for that question as well. Like I say, off the topic of wrestling, which I wanted to ask Rob some bits, outside of wrestling, of course. And we've got famous referee Steve Linsky. What's up, RVD? So we've got Steve Linsky. Yeah, legend of the zebra, especially around here and obviously Europe and beyond. So yeah, no, thanks for your comment, Steve. Appreciate that, sir. And we've got Jordan Womble. I've actually got a photo of you with this guy at a show in Doncaster from 2016. So yeah, he loves this, he says. And he says, Rob is my hero.
Awesome.
And I'll pull up a photo of him now just quickly for you. So yeah, that was at a Doncaster show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cool photo, man. Cool photo. Yeah, thanks for your comment there, Jordan. Cheers, bro. Keep going with your good content as well. We've got Justin Clapper here, Rob. And he had you on the Wrestling Travel podcast on the lockdown sessions, probably about 4 years ago now. You were a guest on there. He had you on. Justin's a great guy. He's been a great support to me. Before you broke in, what were you watching in and around Michigan? Any AWA in there?
The other thing I got at my house was WWF television. And then there was something like, we only had 3 channels, like literally. So it's a whole different world. That's how fast the world changes. 3 channels. And then channel 17 came in, which was Fox, and they were edgy. And they started having a wrestling show on Saturday afternoons. And I'm not sure what the promotion was, but Road Warriors were there. And what's his ass? Mark Starr, Chris Champion. Not really sure, but mostly just and then when I went to see my grandma in Detroit, then she got a couple different wrestling shows on her TV than I got, and then my neighbors got the satellite dish, and I would go to my neighbor's house. Man, the huge old dishes you have to to get more than the 4 or 5 channels. And then that I remember seeing, I thought it was UWF, but I don't know. One Man Gang was there. I think Kamala. And AWA, did they do? Yeah, they did the Showboat Arena out of Las Vegas, I believe. And so I did watch that eventually from my neighbor's house. Like, all the wrestlers were like new to me whenever I would watch it. But I remember Larry Zbyszko was there, and who else? Larry Zbyszko for sure. Probably the guy that owns it. What's the father's son?
Greg Gagne.
Yeah, thank you.
Greg Gagne, man. Yeah, absolutely. And good old Vern. Yeah, it was fantastic, man. Obviously, I watched it. We didn't get the territories here, but I was born in '86, so a lot of it I've gone back and watched. Like, it's mad. It's mad. It was like ECW, Rob. We didn't get it till it came on Bravo. I think it was like '99 here in the UK. We got ECW later. So the only time I saw you guys was when you were coming into WWF. I've got Jacques Rougeau here, 5-time guest on Stu's Wrestling Podcast. The Mountie is in the house, and I enforce the law. So yeah, Jock, he says, love this guy. So we've got Jacques Rougeau, former Intercontinental Champion in the live.
When I saw him a couple of weeks ago, at a convention or something, and he doesn't even remember that we had a match together.
When was the match, Rob? Can you
Well,
remember?
it's pretty forgettable. So
No.
it was a total squash match, and it was in '92. Yeah, 90. It was in '92, and there was two shows. The WWE came through town, and Pat Tanaka was the hookup for all of us boys in Tampa at the time. Anyway, we drove to Mobile, Alabama, and then the next night was across the river. What would that be? I think probably New Orleans. But anyway, first night I didn't have to work, but since I was there, showed up and signed up, they paid me. And I was like, yes, because I really didn't want to do a job on TV. Even though I'd only been wrestling a couple of years, I'd had the Rob Van Dam gimmick for, I don't know, maybe a year, maybe even less than a year. But I was like, man, I'm in the magazine and I got those 200 fans in Tampa that know me. And, you know, I felt like I didn't want, like I had some momentum going and I didn't want to get squashed, but it was a good experience. And $150 per match was a lot of money because I was getting $35 a night at the Sportatorium once a week. And so I wanted that money. And anyway, they had two matches for me the next day. One was against Sid Vicious, and it was a handicap match. And the other one was with the Mountie. And he shocked me with his stick, a cattle prod afterwards. I don't actually remember that, but I saw it recently. And but I told him he didn't realize that though. And I could show him. But what happened that I'll always remember is I wanted to change my look so the people that my big fan base that knew Rob Van Dam, you know, wouldn't maybe put two and two together. So I put my hair down, you know, it was just really short and really blonde back then. I wore the blue wrestling trunks that Sheik gave me with some white boxing boots that I used to wear my first few matches, blue volleyball knee pads, and I actually wore a shirt in the ring. And I thought, you know, that's cool. You know, I'll get paid. It's not going to hurt the momentum of RVD. And after the match, after he shocked me with the cattle prod, I went through the gorilla and you know, just looked for feedback. And I think they were, hey, you know, good job, whatever. So I just walked through, and then I heard Gorilla Monsoon say, "What? He what?" And I was like, "Oh no!" And Gorilla Monsoon came running out after me, and he goes, "You didn't wear that shirt in the ring, did you?" You know, and he just watched the whole match, but didn't realize that I was wearing a shirt. And I was like, why? And he goes, "Why would you do that? Why would you not want to show your body?" Oh, great. Now we might have to redo the whole match again. Stand by, Jesus. And I was like, fuck. You know, I got in trouble. I'm just some young green kid, you know, trying to make a $150 here, which I got 300 since I worked twice. So that was cool.
The early days, man, the early days.
Yeah. And Sid tipped me an extra 20.
Oh, there you go. Good old Sid.
Yeah.
R.I.P. as well. R.I.P. What a man. Oh, just so sad him passing away a few months ago. Very sad. Very sad. But my God, what a guy. What a guy he was.
I don't think I've ever tipped somebody, or I don't remember anyone else tipping me again. It may have happened, but I don't know. That's pretty standoutish. You know, that's pretty cool of him.
I've got one from my sister here, but it's on behalf of my nephew, Elliot. He's recently really got into wrestling. I tried with him years ago, Rob. He had the ring, he had the figures and everything. The game's available on PlayStation on the subscription service. He started playing that. He's telling me all about wrestling. But yeah, this is from Elliot, my nephew. What was the best moment of your wrestling career? Good question, that, El. Good question for Rob. That. Well done. Good lad. Good boy.
I guess that would be holding the WWE championship belt after my match at One Night Stand with John Cena, and not because of not just because of the pinnacle that I was in at that moment, being world champion. I mean, that was a great part of the ingredients, but extra special to me was the way that I did it and the way that I stuck to my values, and I kept it hardcore and extreme. Even when everyone told me stop doing that, and they wanted to mainstream me, and I wanted, I loved having the hardcore title. That's supposed to be a joke, but for me, I felt like I could express myself artistically more with that, and I stuck to my guns always. And anyway, because of that, that's why I was holding that WWE Championship belt, and because of that, that was just like a real moment of vindication, and especially like I didn't let myself believe that it was going to happen until actually 1, 2, 3. So then the moment was a lot more real to me because I wasn't expecting it so much. I was still expecting something else to happen, and something horrible to happen, and me to slip off the top rope, go up for the Fark Splash and slip off and crack my head open or something.
Being in the Hammerstein ballroom as well, Hammerstein, we'd call it Hammerstein over here. Again, just rabid. When you look at the capacity of that place, just the atmosphere, like you see these big stadiums and stuff, don't you, in closed spaces with roofs on. The sound and just the staunch ECW fans in there, man. When you think it was probably 2,000 people in there, maybe, give or take, and the atmosphere was just incredible. One of the most iconic places, surely.
Yeah, that is true, man. That's I think it goes without saying, but that is a night and an experience that could never be replicated. A crowd whose energy could never be. Come here. Oh, this is Lovey.
Ray, the doggy. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. The doggy's made an appearance. Perfect, man. Perfect, man.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah.
It's one of them.
And I've been in that building before. It was one of our buildings, and really rocked the house. But that particular night, because everybody was 100% behind me and everything that I stood for, everything I was fighting for, and they were all against everything that he stood for and he was fighting for, and there was just so many stars aligned. Otherwise, I don't think I would have ever probably been heavyweight champion. If I hadn't changed the entire playing field by bringing ECW back, who knows?
You were the one who went to Vince with the initial plan, didn't you, for the first one? It was, you were the brainchild with it. You went to Vince directly, didn't you?
Yeah, like I said, I never let it drop, and I always loved the extreme matches, whenever it's a ladder match or something like that, and you can throw the rule book out, I think, outside the box. I always felt, well, one, I'm very durable, so I could take a lot of punishment. And so, I like to show off with that. And two, it's nice to get creative, and bring in, go out of the bounds of imagination and of the ring to pull some stuff off if you can fit it in. And anyway, now there's doors underneath the ring and sheets of glass sometimes and stuff that should never be underneath the ring. So, those are just special matches. It's weird to see them pulled out, but that's like I said, that was me. And I didn't know that Vince was going to think it was a good idea, even when I brought it to him. I knew it was a good idea, but I thought maybe I'd have to really talk him into it. And right off the bat, he said, I think that's a good idea, Rob. I think that's a good idea, Rob.
Did you watch the documentary? I bet you didn't, because you've been around it. You were around him for so many years.
I did. You know, I watched it, and also Vice TV also did a documentary that got overshadowed that nobody talks about, and I thought they both were really good.
Everyone's a friggin' expert. I would have done this with a documentary. They've never been a filmmaker in their born days. You know, I liked it. I like the Vice one. I think it was unjust. There was unjust criticism, but that's just the modern world now. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can comment, can't they?
Yeah. I don't even know specifically what the documentary got that you're referring to, but I mean, it told a hell of a story. I really didn't think, as far as the Netflix one goes specifically, I thought that Vince was going to end up looking a lot worse than he did. I didn't think until the end that they were portraying him as a bad guy, not from my perspective. You know, at the end with the girl in the lawsuit and pooping on her head and all that. I mean, come on, that's horrible stuff he's being accused of now. But prior to that, I usually have his side, have his back. And when I've heard all of his classic interviews, I've always agreed with him. I'm like, he's right. Why should Vince take responsibility for every wrestler that dies just because they spent, you know, a 6-month run in his company out of their 15-year career? You know what I mean? Like when these wrestlers were already drinking, doing steroids, doing drugs, wrestling, getting concussions, when they were already doing all that for years before they had a run with WWE, why all of a sudden everyone got a point at Vince and say it's his fault, he's the devil? Like, come on. I'm responsible for everything that's happened to me. I know that personally. I didn't even tell anybody when I had a concussion. I wouldn't tell them because I was my own doctor and I had to gauge whether I was okay and could keep working or not. But I felt the same way about steroids. You know, why is he got to be the one blamed unless he's telling them they have to do that, which I doubt. So there's been so many times where people are like, huh, I never thought about it that way. Well, how else would you think about it? You just automatically just say, you know, jump on the negative sludge without thinking about it.
That was the point of contention. Various wrestlers on the documentary, like, he never told me to take them. I decided to take them.
Makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. Always has.
Phil Mushnick, he hated him. He had a vendetta over him for years. It was everything. It was to sell newspapers. He drummed up all sorts of nonsense, you know. But Vince is Vince. That's it. That's it. Like him all over him. Look what he did for the business.
Yeah. That's why it's so crazy, because he raised all of us, the wrestlers and the fans. And you know, I don't know if we'll ever find out, you know, what's true and what's not true. I don't know. One thing in the documentary, though, I've always thought that like, did he know or not what was going on? And that's not really talked about that much. But I feel like normally in a business, especially a big business like that, you have layers of protection and you don't want to know everything. You know what I mean? I remember one time when Johnny Ace told me, Vince is going to want to talk to you about smoking weed Monday. I was like, there's no way he wants to talk to me about that. He doesn't want to admit that he knows one of his stars is smoking. Why would he do that when he's got layers of people underneath him? Then he's culpable. So, you know, I don't know what all he knew and what he didn't, but having, you know, said that, I didn't think that they portrayed him as a bad person. I do want to say, you know, by the way, with all the Ring Boy scandalous crap and all that was going on, you know, if he knew and turned the other blind eye or whatever, then that's pretty bad too, of course. But I don't know.
This is it. It's all we don't know. It's all unknown, isn't it? Still to this day, and we probably won't. We probably will never know. That's just how it is. But it brought non-wrestling people to that documentary because I had various people going. I've watched it. They had no interest in wrestling, and they enjoyed it. They really enjoyed it. I've got one more question here, Rob, before I just close out with my last bits because I know time's precious and all that. And it's about the man, the legend, Terry Funk. So I've got a graphic of you two there together. It's from my good friend Mike, huge ECW fan. And he loves deathmatch wrestling as well, but ECW is his thing. Can you ask Rob about Terry Funk? What was he like pre-match, and how much of the match would be pre-planned versus how much on the fly? So that's Mike's question about Terry to you, and your answer on that, please.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have a big barrel of knowledge to scoop through for this one. I never had a match with him. The closest was when Sabu and Terry Funk had the barbed wire match, and I was outside the ring. I don't even know if I was there for the whole thing. I think I might have ran out, halfway through or something. That sounds more ECW like. So I really don't know, as far as those questions go. But I was around him a bit, and he was a good guy. He obviously loved the business. See him on the road. I've always been a lot closer to Dory, his brother, just because I know Dory from Florida. So I've gotten together and done things and worked with Dory as well. But Dory worked for All Japan same time I did. Terry Funk wasn't working for us at the same time with All Japan. So I knew him at the ECW, and I knew him at the Terry Funk special show. When did he wrestle Bret Hart?
He did wrestle Bret, and Bret. Yeah. I've said countless times, Rob. Bret's still my favorite. When I met you, I was fine meeting you. Fine, we chatted. I'll get to that in a little bit. But when I met Bret, because he's my idol, I couldn't string a sentence together. But sorry, I jumped in. It was Bret and Terry Funk. Fantastic match, and the memorial show. Sorry, I jumped in.
Yeah, no. So I really haven't been around him a whole lot. Definitely enough, to say hi and give him a hug, and how you doing, but not much experience actually working with him. But he was a good guy. Everybody respected him as one of the OGs, for sure. And he was a bigger star than his brother Dory. So out of the Funk brothers, Terry got a lot more exposure everywhere, and because of that, some people don't even remember Dory, but Dory's still around, still kicking too. He did something recently, I think I don't know if it was on WWE or NXT or what, but saw something on social media. But anyway, Terry was a great guy.
Yeah, amazing career again. Just one on his own, unique, and being unique in the business is that's a hard facet to have. Absolutely. Then we've got Matt Jarrett here. What's your memories working to Cold Scorpio?
I've always loved Too Cold Scorpio. He's a great dude, and we vibe well together. And I love our matches for several reasons. One, because we're like-minded in the way that we're both going to think something that's really cool is really cool. Both will agree. So our match is going to come off more like either one of us would want it to individually, because we're kind of like-minded in that way. And also I like it because he really cares. Like he's, he likes to think everything through and be like, wait a minute, and really like, like be better if I did, let me do this. And I like that too, because a lot of people don't even have that. They just or the opposite, or they want to do everything in the world and don't even know what kind of story they're going to tell. They just know a series of moves they want to get in. So, yeah.
He was ahead of his time as well. So many clips. There was clips from Japan came out where he was hitting a 450. It's just like it was just again probably. Do you know what, Rob? Probably underappreciated. Again, I know I throw that word around because
since you bring it up,
of his time.
In 1992, back then we used to send out VHS tapes with demo reels on them, right? Take a bunch of different clips of my TV matches, put them on there. And I had sent a tape to WCW, and on that tape was wait a second. Yeah, it wasn't Del Japan footage because that wouldn't time out. Anyway, I hadn't seen anybody else do the 450. I thought that I made it up, and I sent them footage, a demo reel of me doing the splits and this and that and the 450. And anyway, then I saw Too Cold Scorpio on TV later doing that, and I thought that he stole that move. I thought that they gave him my move. I was like, what the hell, man? Instead of hiring me, they hired this guy, and then I got hired, and then we worked together anyway. And then I realized I really hadn't seen a lot of Mexican and Japanese, and a lot of stuff that I did come up with, was probably done before with Tiger Mask or who knows, Pegasus Kid, Guerrero's, like they were doing a lot of innovative stuff is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So, but I always thought that about Scorpio, but I used to take it as a bump. I knew that I would kill somebody if I did the 450 and landed on them. So for me, they would get out of the way, and I knocked myself out with it. My last match in TNA in 2012, I wrestling Kenny King, and I did instead of doing the frog splash, I did the 450 just on the spot. So, hey, I haven't done this in about 10 years. I should do this. And went up and rotated a little bit slow. I opened up and bam, and my face hit the mat, and I knocked myself out. I was on my feet. Like I looked like I was overselling, I'm sure, because I had spaghetti legs. I tried to get up, and I could not find balance, and I was doing and I don't know, Kenny grabbed me and put me on his shoulders and gave me something and pinned me, but I couldn't remember the match. That was probably one of 2 or 3 concussions that I've actually gotten diagnosed with. All the rest, and there's been hundreds, are self-diagnosed.
It's the high risk maneuvers. It's
even just getting hit in the head with a chair, though. We used to, get your bell rung. To me, that's a concussion.
Yeah. It was the ferocity that those chairs were getting thrown. It was they were putting a lot of power behind them shots, weren't they? So yeah, no, thanks for that question, Matt. Thank you for all your questions, Rob. I'm going to come away from wrestling because we've been, so predominantly on the wrestling. In your downtime, what do you like to do when you're just chilling? What's your stuff away from wrestling that you find enjoyment in away from pro wrestling?
I smoke weed.
Yeah.
I prefer to be home with Katie and with my dogs. I watch a bit of YouTube. I read mafia nonfiction crime. I'm a high level mobologist in my own as my own claim, but I do know a lot of ridiculous stuff, and watch a little TV as well.
Mm-hmm. Have you watched Tulsa King?
Yes, I love it. I haven't seen the latest episode, but
unbelievable. There's stuff cooking. I don't want to give too much away. There's a lot of subplots going on now. We're waiting for the
Great
kaboom.
show.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, before that came out, and then it seems like the Stallone family at the same time came. It seems like they both came out the first season, and I watched both of them, and I never knew that Sylvester Stallone was my man crush. I never knew. I never knew like how much I really liked him. Like he's always been there as a male role model for us, successful, tough guy, badass. Everything, that he does when he's acting that I've seen, everything I can think of anyway, I really liked. So I'm just saying, that I didn't realize how, like, damn, this dude's a legend that I would put up there. Maybe I'm on Mount Rushmore. And
to play you in a movie.
Katie's in the house.
Hello, Katie. Hope you're well. Hope you're well.
Thank you.
Perfect. Only Wrestlers. Can't wait for that to get rocking and rolling. Cannot wait. Yeah. Amazing what you're doing for us fans and the wrestlers, of course. Just a great concept, as I said earlier, Rob.
Cool. Sign up and get the referral 5% for 12 months of what everyone else does that you sign up. So
there's a myriad of guys on there. AJ Kazana for NWA. I'm hot on him. He's cool. I saw him on there when I was browsing. Oh, I'll tell you one more show before we go because we're on the topic of TV. Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
I don't know what that is.
That's on Peacock. Kevin Hart, Samuel Jackson, Terrence Howard. That's another one I recommend. Get on that.
Okay.
Get on that, man. That's on Peacock. But yeah.
Is it a movie or a series?
A series, eight-part series. We got it in ITV here, but it's Peacock.
You've seen everything, Kevin Hart, no?
What is it called?
Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist.
Fight Night.
So it's like gangsters, but it's
I didn't see it.
It's about Muhammad Ali. It's a little bit about Muhammad Ali as well. So some of it is factual, some's non-factual.
Appreciate the recommendation.
Yeah, man. TV. I'd rather a series than a movie these days. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with it. But yeah, there we go.
I was just saying we need something new to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, cool, dude.
And what just this was us in 2013. And your question to me was here, what year did I win the TV title? I got it right. I said 98. I was going to try and do a Fonzie and do the years, the minutes, the hours, the seconds. But do you know what, Rob? You had a big line that day, and you give me a couple of minutes, so I appreciated that because it was busy. It was busy, man. So it was one of my. It's one of my favorite photos that I've ever had at WrestleCon in the States when we traveled over.
Nice.
Yeah,
cool.
man.
My belt looked a little better condition back then. It's a little beat up now.
I reckon I could be in the running to manager. Get Fonzie out the way. I'm ready there. I've got my Harvey Whippleman going on. There. So there. By the way,
Fonzie will be on Only Wrestlers. I don't know if he is yet or not. I just gotta sign him up. But like I said, we're on the grow. And what was that I wanted to say about it? Oh. Just for me, right now, like the content that I'm sharing is exclusive. And I had somebody say, "Oh, so what's the difference between Instagram and Twitter and stuff?" I brought them behind the scenes with the last couple of weeks with me dealing with WWE and with NXT, and I shared stuff on there that I wouldn't share on any kind of public platform. You know what I mean? So it's a great outlet for that kind of a bond, So some stuff that was pretty interesting that I'll talk about later anyway, but haven't yet.
Head to onlywrestlers.com. Sorry, man.
I said exclusivity. I just wanted to tell you off.
Absolutely. It's what as fans crave, and we're going to get it there as it keeps on growing. Rob, thank you so much, because I know you've been absolutely manic. You were in Philly earlier in the week. I know how busy you are with all your projects, everything going on. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for answering all them fan questions as well.
Right on, Stu. Have a great night. Appreciate you. Be safe.
Thank you, man. Take care. All the best, man.
Thanks, dude.